Welcome to the Tomb, a concept anti-siege village base which uses 3 combined bases creating a 4th TC-less core. This requires raiders to take out all 3 bases to win a raid. 3 unsplashable roof bunkers, which are soft side proof, are connected to a spacious living area that can be used as an open core style roam room. Not only this, but each of the outer TC bases utilise a socket override bunker for the TC, large battery and more loot. Customisable utility rooms can be used for a range of applications. Respawn areas are linked to a ramp shooting floor which come with a range of great angles that cover each of the other bases as well as the centre core. Petrico peaks that cover your head are combined with some outer compound peaks completing the roof. With insanely low upkeep, this must be the next base you try out. Starting off the tour, you can see that I've colour coded each of the bases. This helps me explain what is going on. So the green base at the back connects to 1/3 of the core base, then the red connects to the red part and the blue to the blue part. Due to 3 bases being anti-sieged and overlapping, you can only gain building privilege by destroying each of the 3 bases and their respective TCs, unless you're the base owner and you can disconnect each of the bases, allowing you to replace the TCs. So here we have a very simple airlock using glass windows. You can replace this with some vertical embrasures if you'd like. The inner compound is covered by 6 turrets in total. There are only 6 turrets on this base, and of course you can add more if you want. These turrets cover the entire base. We now enter the TC-less core. Here you can see that I've just placed some boxes down for a roam room area. Of course you can modify this to however you like. There is an entrance on each of the 3 sides, allowing you to have great mobility throughout the compound. On each side you will find a roof bunker that can be opened with twig. Of course you can only do this with TC privilege, and as previously mentioned, unless raiders gain control of all 3 of the TCs, they will not be able to open the inner core bunkers. As you can see by doing a bit of parkour, you also get some great angles outside the compound to surprise door campers. So now we enter each of the bases. These are identical in their shape and size, but of course the interior can be modified. For instance, in this case, the blue base we use a farm area, in the green base we use electric furnaces, and finally the red base we use for our workbench, research table and extra loot. You also find some extra storage spaces just above the bunker TC area, as well as a respawn area that leads up to the shooting floor. By placing this twig here, we can open the socket override bunker. It is vital that you do not add a double doorway or any other building block there, otherwise you won't be able to place the twig. As you can see, there is storage space here, as well as the large battery and TC. And here is the upkeep of each TC. You can simply seal the bunker when you're offline, or while you're online, it's up to you. This ladder hatch actually acts as an airlock even from above, and this is how we enter our simple ramp shooting floor. So on each side you have a Petrico peak for some great long range angles that cover your head, as well as a ramp peak here that utilises no embrasure. You can of course add an embrasure if you like, but I actually prefer having it a bit more open so it gives you slightly more angles, especially down into the compound. Jumping up through the single door above, we have an option that we can use glass windows or leave it open so we can look at the back of each of the bases. This area is also covered by garage doors when you go offline. By using shutters we get a decent peek here. Once again I don't use an embrasure just to increase the vision out of this window. Feel free to modify this and add embrasures however you like. So to show off the anti-siege here, I'll do a little demonstration. So if raiders were to destroy this TC, of course by blowing through the walls, they will not be able to place the TC due to building privileges. And in fact, you can't even place it on the outer honeycomb. As you can see in the bottom right, I still have building privilege. And in the case of the raiders, this would be building blocked. So to replace this TC as the base owner, what you want to do is just come over here, place some twig roof ramps. This will disconnect the TCs. Effectively what this is doing is cutting the upkeep from the center core and actually reducing the building privilege range of the base. You must do this on all sides to then replace the TC. Just disconnecting one of the TCs will not let you replace the TCs. So once you have done this, it is extremely strict, and even if you place it to the left hand side of the triangle when you do open your bunker, it will actually not allow you to place. I have tested this, and as you can see I even have building privilege right now. but even just one triangle foundation away, you will have enough range just to place the extra TC. Once you have placed all 3 TCs, you can then reconnect placing this twig here. Of course, making sure that you've demolished the twig ramp. Once you've found a relatively flat area to build, you can actually use this method to map out the area. By placing one center triangle, then building off with 4 squares in each direction, then placing 2 triangles, this is where the TC will be. It is vital that you place the TC on the left hand side triangle, otherwise you will not be able to replace it. This is effectively the area you will need. So you can do 2 methods. You can either just place all the 3 TCs like this, after doing the twig build out, if you're living out of say a 2x1 starter. You can add wooden doors that you can hatch out later. Or in this case, I will be building off one of these. So once you place your triangle TC, you can then instantly expand and add 2 more triangles and upgrade these. Then add 4 walls on either side. Now you don't want to add anything here. You can, like before, add a wooden doorway and then hatch it out later if you'd like to secure it early. Instead, we will expand, and then a lowered one on the right. Do not upgrade the middle one until you've done this ring of half walls, leaving 1 gap in the middle, then place a square floor above, and then a frame. Only once you've placed this frame, then you can add your foundation. You will eventually want to armor this. Of course, you can leave it metal or stone at this stage. You want to then put 2 half walls and demolish the ones beneath. You can check your override bunker is working by placing twig, and then you have to place a roof on this side. I would like to note that you can only open it from one side, so make sure you do not add a frame on the left hand side. For now, you can just place a double door frame. This will be replaced with a garage door. So for example, in the case that you haven't built the other 2 bases yet, you can see that you can simply build out by 3 squares, 1 triangle, and then 3 squares on each side. You'll be able to then map out exactly the same way. In each case, whether you place the TC first or not, you can use this to then map out your area and build the other 2 bases. At this stage, you should have made these 3 bases to the same stage. You can actually expand the next stage that I'm doing now by adding the utility rooms, which obviously can be used as storage early on into the wipe. So only on this side with the ramp facing upwards. You don't want to add a doorway on this side or any building block. In fact, this is where the roof socket will be. So this side will simply be walls and no door. Then you want to place a single door for your front entrance. So before we place this triangle foundation, you must make sure that you place the other TCs at this stage, even if you are living out of 1 up to this stage. So do not place this triangle airlock unless you've placed the other TCs. You want to have the airlock opening to the left hand side, and you can use a twig jump up for now. Do not upgrade this. So now we will do some honeycomb above and to the side. You want to make sure you do half walls all the way around here, and not how I first placed it. You want to do it like this. This will allow space for some large boxes. Then you can seal in the top. You can upgrade this middle triangle to wood. This will be soft-sided later for our ladder hatch. But in the case that you have a ladder hatch, and in case of this build video, I will just instantly replace this. You want to also upgrade the interior to metal. You can upgrade this to high qual when you get the necessary resources. This will increase the raid cost of the entire base. Place a ladder hatch in this configuration. Then of course add doorways and windows. This is what it should look like. Now you want to add honeycomb on the outside. This can be left stone at the beginning, or it can be made out of metal. Now we will start our wall stacking for our bunkers, as well as the interior area. If you haven't got a jump up already, you want to expand by 3 triangles or 2 triangles if you have the jump up. Then you want to build out by 7 squares and then 1 triangle. Due to the other 2 TCs, you'll still have range for demolishing, so you can build out by 7 squares and not worry about having to demolish it manually. Now you have to build back by half moons. It should be a total of 4 half moons. Now this is correctly wall stacked. However, you want to demolish the original build out and extend the wall stacked area back to the main TC. And then you leave that 1 twig foundation on its own for now. This will allow space for you to wall stack the other 2 bases. You want to repeat the exact same process, build out by 7 squares and then do half moons. Now you should be left with this. With symmetry back on, you can see that they meet up perfectly with a gap in between the foundations. You will be struggling to see the gap until you upgrade it to stone or metal. This is the shape you want to make. However, the inner 2 triangles should be deleted. So you should be left with this, and these can then be upgraded. However, first off, you want to expand off the original TC foundation where your jump up would have been. You will then upgrade these into these grades. Then you want to upgrade these ones in this configuration as well. So you should be left with something like this. So if you've done it correctly, the outer 3 triangles with the 2 HQM will be effectively connected to this. However, these 4 foundations are wall stacked. Right now, all of this is decaying, so make sure you do upgrade it to at least stone while you get the necessary resources to connect it. So to start connecting the foundations, you want to place a full wall and then a roof. If you've done it correctly, it should remove half of the wall. Even though it is floor stacked, this means it's a correct connection. Then the outer 2 foundations should be connected by using these walls here. These are permanent and these will be protecting our bunker. So right now, all of the foundations are connected in the interior part. So effectively what we've done is connected all the foundations in the middle, but they are not connected to their own TCs yet. So for now, you want to expand off the non-floor stacked side. So effectively just the side of your base. Do that triangle configuration, then you want to build out by 1 triangle, 1 square, then cap off with a triangle, then come back with 2 triangles and 1 square, and then add a ramp on top of this to increase the soft side raid cost. Then you want to add 2 half walls. This is for our disconnectable TC effectively. Then add a full wall on the right hand side. You then want to put a triangle frame with a half wall on top of it. Then off the window side, you want to add triangle frames and it should connect like this. Sometimes this triangle frame won't actually place because of the stability. You might need to place a twig half wall in the middle just to help you place the 2 triangles, but then you can demolish the half wall afterwards. And this is what it should look like on each side. It's very confusing to begin with, but once we just complete the inner base, it will make more sense. So everything here is upkeep safely, so you can leave this overnight if you get to this stage. So now we will complete the inner part, so you want to complete the honeycomb here for our bunker, upgrade each part to metal. Then you want to add your half wall for your inner shelf, then add a metal frame to create a conditional. Make sure it's rotated outwards so the conditional is showing. Then you can check your bunker works by placing twig and then a roof ramp. The inner floor should be connected to the inner part. The one next to the bunker entrance should be HQM, and the left hand side can be left metal. Then in the remaining side can be just left all stone. You add a wall and then 2 single door frames and then a double door frame. Once again, the rotation of this frame will matter if it's the same level. It's up to you whether you want the little gap in between or not. Then you want to go around with triangle roofs like this and upgrade them to metal. This is pretty much complete now, but from the inside you want to place full square roofs. So not triangle roofs, otherwise this will cause a connection between the TCs and won't let you place it. So these must be 2 square ramps on each side. Then go ahead and add doors. So that's the inner TC base fully complete. Now we will expand each of the bases, adding the shooting floor. Do a ring of half walls and then windows on top of them. Behind you want to place a single door frame. We will now create the Patrico peaks. You want to place a ramp in this configuration. It has to be raised and it must be facing towards the inner core. Otherwise this will prevent you from placing the barricades later. Place triangle frames off each of these. Don't worry if you don't have stability because we will be adding these frames here anyway, so you can actually add these and upgrade them. On the back side of the base, put full stone walls. You can then drop down if you want, add a half wall and then a floor on top. And then your window frame. Upgrade the inner triangle to metal and then you can add garage doors to the 2 frames. Make sure you place the rollers facing outwards. This will help with peeking through the horizontal embrasure when you're stood on top of the furnace. Make sure you rotate the single door when you upgrade it. You can then extend the roof by 1 floor. This is where you can place your windmill. You can simply access this windmill and do your electrical supply by coming to the middle part, and then by adding these frames here, which will be used for our turret pods, you can access the roof. But for now we'll just add the chain link ready for our turret. I'd recommend adding the fence on the left hand side as it's easier to access due to the TC connection. As you can see, by standing here you can just add some twig build up and then you can access your windmill. You want to upgrade the entire interior to metal. As well as the window frame. I forgot to add earlier in the build that you must honeycomb this foundation here. This will prevent soft siding of the bunkers. As you can see, even if they demolish one of the HQM foundations, they can't access the loot inside. That's due to the metal wall supporting the HQM wall. Now we will just simply complete a bit more protection for our window peaks by adding a low wall and then a floor on top. This is where our barricades will be when we complete the compound. Now to complete the gatehouse, simply build out by this foundation here. Make sure you place a low wall and then the window. This will make sure it's actually upkeeped. If you don't place a low wall, your gatehouse will just decay. Complete your simple gatehouse. Add half walls on top for your turret. You can optionally remove this triangle floor if you want the turret to have full vision. On this side, the wall placement is very specific. Just keep playing around until you get the right angle. I would like to note, if you haven't furnished the inside of the utility room yet, I would do this before placing the walls, because sometimes with the placement of the walls you will clip through into this square. As you can see, I was being a bit too cautious there, but there's no harm in that. In each of these frames you can add a bit of chain link just for some added protection. And optionally add some more barricades if you have the spare material. Now we will run through the recommended deployables. You can place a large box in this if the foundation hadn't already been upgraded to HQM. I'm sure you still can place 6 large boxes, it's just difficult. And that completes the video. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed this base design. If you did, feel free to like and subscribe down below, it is always greatly appreciated.